Welcome. My name is Tracy Cook, and this is the podcast series Victim to Victory. This series gives a voice to those that have overcome obstacles in all forms, that dare great to share their real stories. Amazing humans like our upcoming guest have seen hope and they've risen above those adversities to become victorious, that go on now to support and inspire others to do the same. Please subscribe and comment so you don't miss all of the latest episodes. And today we are giving a voice to Anita. Welcome to the Victim to Victory podcast.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Really excited to be here today.
Oh, thank you so much. Now, I want to share with you how amazing you are and the impact that you're making in what you actually do. So you are an emergency physician, certified mindset coach, and international TEDx speaker. And you've served as a medical director of the emergency department at St. Luke's Hospital and emphasized department wellness during the COVID-19 pandemic. Wow. There's a lot just in there. You're amazing. And Anita currently works as a physician and owner at America's ER, where she creates true partnerships with her patients. And in the ER, she focuses on effective communication as a leader and prioritizes working under pressure with compassion and with empathy. And how much do we need that in these modern times as well? Now, you're also a certified life coach and founder and creator of Dire Coaching, a life coaching community focusing on teens, young professionals, and mums. How wonderful, how heartwarming, and how so much needed. Now, I know you love spreading joy and improving, maximizing self-worth and confidence, and you really believe in the magnificent ignitable power of each person's inner light, which everyone has. I love that so much. And you're helping clients really fulfill your purpose as a coach as well. Now, you are doing so many things. And I know that you're married. You have 3 beautiful children as well. And I absolutely love your message and how many amazing things you're helping people with. Anita, where does your story start?
Thank you so much, Tracy, for that introduction. Well, my story starts probably pretending like I was really small. I think that is kind of the crux of the conflict that I feel like I've overcome, is that starting off feeling like the world is so big, yet feeling just so small and insignificant, or just very small compared to so many of the external challenges. And so, for example, growing up, I was born and raised in Texas, and my father immigrated to this country as a physician. And academically, I always felt very much aligned with whatever external expectations there were of me. But then it came to a certain point in my life where I had to overcome a academic obstacle, and I really wondered, am I as academically capable as what other people think of me as? And I almost had kind of an imposter syndrome, or maybe I wasn't as good enough as what other people deemed me to be. And so I almost pretended like I didn't deserve the accolades or the awards or different things that I was receiving. And so I almost felt like a fake, because I felt like I was receiving these things, but no one knew exactly how much effort it took. People thought that it was something that was kind of easy. And I feel like I put so much effort into just keeping that promise to the rest of the world, but inside it was actually like I didn't even believe it, And I feel like the first point in my life where I felt like I was really aligned with who I was and actually fulfilling this like greater promise to myself was when I entered motherhood. I think so much of the time when we have these external expectations of ourselves, and that's what I felt, um, even though they were expectations I almost had of myself, it's that outside world and the inside world were just so intertwined. I almost didn't know exactly who I was as a separation from the external needs or validations of everyone else. And when I became a mother, that's when I really started to kind of, I would say, almost define myself very, very differently and to recognize who I truly was and who I truly am. And so it's odd that it actually took this other human being outside of me to make me realize who I was.
I like how you said you had to do the inner work. And we see that quite often. And social media, is the crux for that almost, because we see all these, lifestyles and things like that, but we forget how much work it takes to make it kind of look easy, and going through that inner struggle of having to be more and keep up those expectations. Was that kind of really challenging as well?
Yes, it definitely is a challenge because you are doing it so much for the image of it. And I would say this was much before the era of social media. Um, but I can't even imagine, the pressure and that force of work that people feel to maintain this image. That's actually, it's a cloud. Like none of it really exists. You can poke it, and that image is not really part of a reflection of your reality. It's just what you kind of want to be true, but the painstaking part of it is it's not true, but you're just still trying to keep up with the appearance of it. And that's why so much of the work that I do now really caters to this younger population, because I see that if we can change that trajectory in the mindset of someone that's younger, then it really changes the entire course of people's life narrative and how they interact with the world and most importantly themselves.
Definitely. What's the biggest thing that you've seen working with younger people that they're kind of struggling with and challenging with, and that you can relate to as well?
Yeah, I think in terms of mm, feeling small, I think a lot of times I was not able to verbalize or vocalize the challenges that I was going through. So, for example, after we had our first daughter, then we went through issues related to infertility. I was told that there would be a 0% chance I would be able to carry a second child on my own. And that was devastating news. And we went through IVF twice, it failed. And it was kind of I had to really look at myself and understand, because at that point I was finally feeling like myself and feeling fully aligned with who I was, discovering myself as a mother. And so I took a lot of pride and joy in it. And then to kind of get shattered, that hope to get shattered again when you say, no, that's it, the end. And so then, we kept a lot of hope and were able to get pregnant on our own for a second time and then a third time. And so I would say that I I see the challenges of when we are not able to share those vulnerabilities. But in speaking up about it and being able to share that pain and the hurt is something that allows you to heal. And that healing is what's transformative to be able to get to the next step. It's almost like you have to go through that vulnerable state in order to bridge yourself to being able to look back at it.
Yeah, definitely. And especially coming off the last couple of years. Now, you've worked in the emergency department during COVID-19 as well. So, have you seen a rise in kind of like mental health issues and things like that that are really playing on, especially adolescents, kind of self worth and confidence and things like that?
Absolutely, because we see that, especially in families, right? At, when teens are struggling with issues, it's likely because there may be something going out in their home or amongst their close friend circle. And a lot of times when this is something that is the first of its kind for our entire planet to be dealing with at the same time. It just takes such a different scale of impact. And so in the emergency department, for sure, we've absolutely seen a rise in the number of people coming in with anxiety and depression. But the good thing about the pandemic is that people are more vocal about it. They're able to talk about it. They're not scared to admit that they're having these symptoms, and they're actually having conversations with their family members because it's something that is so commonplace now.
Yeah, it is just such a huge shift there as well. Now, going through into what you're doing now, what were the lessons that you learnt that actually swayed you into doing what you're doing now?
So I realized that I had to stop playing small and actually speak up for myself and play into my true kind of step into my true self. And so I was able to step into roles as directors, in leadership positions where I think otherwise I would have probably cowered into thinking, maybe I don't deserve that, or maybe there's someone else who is going to be better at this. And instead of looking at what other people have and their qualities, I learned to be able to, if I felt like, wow, this is what this person has, let me try and emulate that. Let me learn about them. Let me get curious about it and take on skills that I don't currently have. And so I think I was able to, instead of looking at people with envy or jealousy, being able to kind of learn from them, and I was willing to do that as a leader to be able to pass on anything that I had, but also to be able to state, hey, I don't know this. And it was that, and I finally learned to say it was okay that I don't know something and to be able to recruit help. I think those two things are very helpful. And I think probably the same in parenting, to be able to say, I don't know the answer. I need help with this.
You know what? When you just said that, then I could just hear so many light bulbs going off of people listening to this interview, because how many times do we, it's like your husband with a roadmap. They don't want to stop and ask for directions, right? How
Right.
many times do we not want to put our hand up because of pride or whatever it may be, ego or whatever? And we just think, oh, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to push it aside. I'll figure it out later because I just don't want to raise my hand and ask for help. And
Exactly.
it is so commonplace as well. So thank you for shedding light on that. Now, I know that you give a lot of talks with universities and students and youth groups and physician groups, corporate groups. What are the biggest topics that are coming up in those kind of groups that you're doing with your speaking as well?
For the younger groups, I really talk a lot about self-empowerment and self-confidence and how to create a sense of self-worth, especially in this age of social media domination. Um, and and learning how to be able to intertwine reality with your social media life. And that's something that a lot of young girls especially have felt empowered by, because they realize that that I think it doesn't I think it helps to hear again and again that these are people's highlight reels. There's still a deeper sense of reality beyond what's on the screen.
Yeah, definitely. And what about in corporate? Has it been a big shift in corporate, and how does that relate to your story as well?
Yeah, I think in terms of what we're able to speak about to corporate groups is being able to create a culture of compassion, and we see that is so painstakingly needed in all of medicine. And we see that it's taken even more of a catapulted in terms of importance because you've had the great resignation in healthcare as well. And people just want to feel valued. And I think that where I realize it with my story is that I've had to titrate all these different roles and create a sense of balance so that I feel my own sense of worth and value, that it's not just being in the hospital, it's not just being a parent, it's not just being a coach. It's being able to keep up with hobbies, it's being able to keep up with friendships and social life, and being able to, you know, make sure that I'm still dating my husband, things like that, so that everything gets elevated.
And what would three kind of tips be that you could share with our audience on how we actually find those values and find those beliefs?
So I would say that the first thing is really get curious about who you are. Once you're able to identify who you are, explore who you are, and do this. A lot of times we get scared of spending time alone, but if we can do this, there's like a place for solitude because we're able to really spend some time without the chaos of the world and ask ourselves, what our three most important values are. I think that's the first kind of tidbit. Another one would be to then, once you realize that, then align yourself with that and show up as yourself, no matter what situation you're in, no matter what the environmental factors are. Because once you show up as yourself and you're aligned with yourself, everything else flows so much more easily. And people are not going to always like you. Not everyone is going to have the great taste, and so it's okay. And I think once you learn that you go through some type of rejection, you realize that it doesn't sting that badly, and you're more okay with it because you're more authentic to yourself.
And can you remember the first time that you truly, truly felt authentic, like truly exposed you to the world? Was it after you became a mum?
I would say probably after I became a mom. Even though I'm born and raised in Texas, I grew up speaking my native Indian language at home, Marathi, and my husband speaks Gujarati, and we speak to to all of our children in our separate languages. So we have four languages in the house actually, and so I think a lot of it shows up in terms of language for us because even publicly, I'll still speak our native language. And I used to feel embarrassed or shy or not wanting to do that. But being able to do that and express myself in those words that only come in that language allows me to really be who I am.
I love that because we all have to embrace who we truly are and our roots and our legacy that was, sown before us as well. I absolutely love that so much. And what a great message to share with you've got three daughters, I believe.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, how empowering for them to own who they are and where they come from, and to be able to see their mum just be her true authentic self as well. That is what we call a legacy, right? That is what we call a
Yeah.
legacy. That is wonderful. Great morals and lessons. And what kind of message would you like to leave the audience on today, Anita?
So I would say that, once you figure out what you want in life, go after it. There's going to be people that will help you, and then there's going to be people that will get out of the way. And both of those types of people are very helpful. And so, but the first criteria is just know what you want and go after it.
Know what you want and go after it. Sounds so simple, but so complex and so powerful all at the same time. Thank you so
Yep.
much. Please, everybody, connect with Anita. She's doing some amazing, empowering, and inspiring things. She is an educational machine, informational machine. She has got so much goodness. You're so appreciated. And thank you for being brave to share a little bit more about yourself today as well. You can find the Victim to Victory podcast on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Please subscribe and leave a very welcome comment for our guest today, Anita, and head to our website and check out all of the other episodes. And until next time, thank you for being such a powerful guest on Victim to Victory. Thanks, Anita.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Loved being with you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.